Okie dokie. Okay. So, just to make sure, I know people are going to see the title and be upset, and that's okay. I expect at least one or two dislikes. That's all right. The thing is that it's not a defense of not getting checks. This is more of a why do you give a shit about getting paper money as it is? You know, why don't you get Bitcoin? Why don't you get pesos? Why don't you get, you know, I don't know, gold doubloons or something else? You know, but no one has that sort of force really to demand that in this country. The thing is, I was listening to that Professor Black Truth again. It's so funny to me because I know that he's aligned with that Jason Black guy of the Black Channel and Tariq Nasheed. Of course, Tariq Nasheed, being such a grifter as it is, I mean, he is. There's no doubt he is a grifter. And the thing is, suspect of white supremacists and all that. It's like, no, your your wife is half white, and the thing is, man, is that even past that, you dropped the whole foundational Black American stuff and dropped working with Dr. Yvette Carnell and whatnot, and called them, that they were sellouts and everything else like that. And you moved on to another hustle. That's the whole thing. It's a good hustle. Like I say, these are race hustlers. It's like if we want to put it out this way, is that Tariq Nasheed and Professor Black Truth and all these folks, they're race hustlers for black folks. Then yeah, you could have National Justice Party and all those folks, and they're race hustlers for white folks. you know, or the whoever else that you want to choose, Richard Spencer, whatever the case may be. So I mean that's where it's at. I mean it's hilarious to me where he's just like, well, we're gonna, we should, we're gonna demand getting these checks. We're gonna demand getting reparations. Our 40 acres and a mule. The thing is, what sort of leverage do you have? What leverage do you have? 13% of the country being African American, we'll put it that way. I'll use that outdated term, or new African, or melanated people, or whichever. 13% of the population. How is that gonna make a difference? I mean, look at it with South Africa. Look how much energy that had to be expended when 10% of the population of South Africa was white. So, I mean, what? I just, like I say, beyond the racial stuff, though, is let's get back to the main point. Cash money is a pointless sort of thing. When they talk about reparations, this and that, which I imagine would include land and, resource and whatnot, it's like they'll give you the crappiest land that they'll give. Even if you had the leverage, they'd give you the shittiest land that they could. So it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's a waste of time, in my opinion. The thing is that a lot of the smart folks, like I say, even the white race hustlers, are going to Bitcoin. We've seen this even with Nick Fuentes. He got all these folks got all this money from that French guy, who was a fan of Nick Fuentes and all those types, Mr. Mo White Genocide. Gave out like $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. Just 500,000 Bitcoin. And I know that's probably like maybe one full Bitcoin is, I don't even, like I say, I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but it's like, look, it's ridiculous, and while we could try to, while people could beg for checks and whatnot, you have to realize that money is just money, that cash is just cash, and you could be a financial guy and talk about all the sorts of things, but it's like, look, to me, we are moving past the time where fiat currency is going to be viable. And yeah, it is going to be digital to a point, but we may go back to the barter system to some degree because we can't have the level of infrastructure that we have without a massive amount of folks to keep it going. And eventually robots and automation. And as we see with the United States, there are plenty of places that are going to be left behind, you know. So I think the real thing is that, localism has to be the factor. It has to be knowledge. And I know that that sounds pretty stupid, but it's like, to me, is that, if you know something about, let's say, shipping or something like that, let's say you work on the docks of New York, or you work in LA or something like that, or even the Great Lakes. If you have that experience, that's not as hard to give away. Now, of course, people can find a way around that. And yeah, the powers that be can find a way around that. But to me, people have to people have to step away from this idea where it's just like, yeah, the $2,000 checks aren't coming. It's a $600 check and then a $1,400 check, I guess. They're trying to do it like that, I guess. It's ridiculous anyway. But Biden has already said that we're not going to go back to full employment for several years. So we're headed into at least another recession of some sort, And it's going to get worse. There's going to be another hurricane that's going to destroy a city. Eventually, I'm sure that will happen. I don't think that's too far out of the realm of possibility, but that's what's going to happen. And the Midwest, jobs are going to be scarce as always. People are going to end up living off that government check. Some folks may just become hustlers. They may, they'll probably start becoming pimps and becoming thieves or whatever the case may be, or start panhandling or whichever. I know lumpen proletariat has a bigger definition. I realize I've been I've been enlightened towards that, but it's like, look, people can go ahead and continue to fight for these checks, and you can have this sort of fake idea that you see Elizabeth Warren out there and Chuck Schumer out there saying, well, it's not right, then we should get health care. I don't give a shit about that. That's fake. That's just a show to trick people, I think. I think it's just one of those things where people have to realize that localism is going to be the future. I think eventually the federal government is just going to pick and choose. Well, they always have, but they're going to pick and choose where to give money to. It's like, well, we have to keep Los Angeles under control because that's a fairly big port on the West Coast, or we have to keep, the Great Lakes going because we still do a fair amount of trade with Canada, or we have to keep New York open because it's a shining city. But places like, I don't know, let's say like Whitefish, Montana. Well, that's fairly rich, but still, I don't know, like Iowa Park, Texas. They don't give a shit about that. Or I'm trying to think of another place. Like, let's say, I'm trying to think of one offhand. I mean, I'm trying to think of just a random city. Let me think of one in Iowa. Let's see here. How about Davenport, Iowa? There you go. Or Sioux City, or Ames, Waterloo, whichever. I'm just choosing Iowa. Just pulled it out of my ass. But it's like, do you think they give a shit about those cities? No, probably not. Those cities are just going to have to wait for government money that may come or may not come. So I think localism is the way to go, and creating more of those, insular societies within a region. Is it going to happen? I don't know. That's my hope. That's all I can do at this point is hope. But localism to me is the future. And so I guess I would suggest, suggest that get to know your neighbors, I guess, and make do. That's all you can do. I know I've said that before, but it's just so ridiculous to be like, well, let's beg for, $2,000, no. The thing is, I could cope about it, but it's like, I'm not going to get money anyway because my parents wanted me to file with them so that they could get a better deal. I'm not going to sit here and I have my time to be angry about it, but it's like, I made my choice. So I'm, I'm just going to continue to beg for mom and dad for now. But that's my fault. You can just say, take this L, cracker. And I'll say, yep, I did take the L. I've been taking so many L's, they call me, they call me Tetris, Yeah, I take so many L's, they call me Tetris, man. I don't even worry about it anymore. It's just like, I've made my choices, man, like I say. But I would hope that some sort of localism, some sort of, local economy can be built however you want to do it. However you want to do it, that is the real future of whatever is left of this country, because it doesn't mean anything. Boomers can hang on to that idea. Gen Xers, maybe some hold on to that idea. Millennials, Zoomers, whoever else. Greatest generation. A lot of people don't hold on to that idea. They just, as long as they can have their basic needs met, they don't give a shit. As long as they have their phones, as long as they have their laptops where they can, I don't know, watch porn or whatever the case may be, most people don't give a shit. It's like this is the only country they know. They know about the basics to pass a test, but they don't really care, That's the gift and the curse of the internet. But that's a whole other argument. And I think I've just rambled and kind of walking through the woods drunkenly, but I hope you'll enjoy that video. I don't know what the hell I was talking about, but I had a lot of stuff, running through my head, and I got it out there the best I could, kind of like that TATU song, running through my head, that the Red Scare girls use. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy that. See you later, and goodbye.